Hiya there and welcome to Trains, Planes and Automobiles GB. Right, just a little bit of facts here on the Indiana's battleships of 1893. Right, the Indiana, leader of the United States Navy's first class of true battleships, which entered service in the mid-1890s. The three Indianas were authorised under the Act of June 1890, and by that time the two small battleships, the Texas and the Maine, were still 5 years off completion, and while it was acknowledged that they had shortcomings, no one had any idea what that would mean in practice. In effect, the Indianas were little more than a shot in the dark. They missed their target by a considerable margin. It should perhaps have been obvious that they could have not been expected to carry the four huge 330mm guns, the 8 203mm guns, or the 457mm armour belts. And they had significant fuel to allow them to steam 6,000 miles. USS Indiana, later BB-1, was built by Cramp. Begun May 1891, she was launched on the 28th of February 1893 and completed on the 20th of November 1895. She saw action in the Battle of Santiago in 1898. She was not seriously tested. She was decommissioned in 1920 and later sold for scrap. The similar battleships of the 1890s, you had the Charles Mantel of France and you had the Hannibal of Great Britain. They were all considerably faster than the Indiana, so it wasn't the greatest ship it was supposed to have been. As I say, it had a range of 6,000 miles. It had a displacement of 10,290 tons, which, when you consider the Hannibal and the Charles Mantel, which would have been, what they were targeting to be, it was a lot less. The Hannibal of Great Britain, could carry 14,700 tons. Again, a very short on power to the other battleships, the main ones of its day. The Charles Mantel had 14,900 horsepower. The Hannibal of Great Britain had 12,000. The Indiana only had 9,000. So whilst it was supposed to be one of the big battleships of America, and I suppose America, in 1893, wasn't, the empire it is today, it wasn't the best ship in the world, no. Just a little bit of the technical data on this ship. It was a battleship. It had a two-shaft vertical triple expansion engines producing 9,000 horsepower. Dimensions, it was 106.92 metres long, which is 351 foot. It had a beam of 21.1 metres, which is 69.2 feet. It had a displacement of 10,290 tonnes, but possibly go to 11,690 tonnes fully loaded. She had a draft of 7.3 metres. Complements, which basically means, I think, passengers, 586, and she had a speed of 15 knots, which is around 28 kilometers an hour. Right, just a little bit, of characteristics, of this ship. The Act of Congress, which authorised the Indianas, limited their displacement to that which other Naiads would have considered significant, only for second-class ships. The most profound effect of the decision to arm and protect them to a higher standard was to see their freeboard reduced to just over 11 feet. Well, that was just a little bit of the facts. Sorry, some of this wording I'm trying to read off from my notes is a little bit of a mouthful. Anyway, bottom line of the USS Indiana was badly underpowered and it wasn't a very successful ship, so that's it. Hopefully I'll give you a little bit of history of this ship, and I've got to admit it's not one of the most famous ones I've heard of, to be honest. But anyway, this is my new channel, and I will try and do some more facts. I've got tons of battleship facts, and we'll go on to trucks, tanks, trains, everything. I'm just trying to make this. Right, I will make better videos than this anyway. This is sort of a test one anyway. Thanks for looking. Bye-bye.